Roll call, Terry, please.
Burns,
Yes.
Chartrand,
Here.
King,
Here.
Colzer,
Here.
Lachos,
Here.
Lehman,
Here.
Marahan,
Here.
Mosier,
Here.
Osborne,
Here.
Dahlhoff.
Here. Stand for the invocation, please. People are often unreasonable and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you're kind, people may accuse you of ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you're honest, people may cheat you. Be honest anyway. If you find happiness, people may be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today may be forgotten tomorrow. Do good anyway. Give the world the best you have, and it may never be enough. Give your best anyway. For you see, in the end, it is between you and God. It was never between you and them anyway. Face flag for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The March 6, 2018 minutes stand approved. Terry, report of the Rules and Legislation Committee.
The Rules and Legislation Committee has met, and they recommend to waive the rules to act upon late resolutions this evening. Need a motion.
Moved by Brian, second by Andrea. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So we have some proclamations tonight. We're going to start with a proclamation for Mr. Gerald Snyder. If you and Pat would like to come up.
It's a proclamation commending Gerald Snyder. Gerald commenced his volunteer firefighter membership with the Copenhagen Volunteer Fire Department in 1968. He is a past president and current member of the Board of Directors of the Copenhagen Volunteer Fire Department, while also continuing civic service in his capacity as Deputy Mayor of the Village of Copenhagen. Gerald continues to illustrate his dedication and commitment to the protection of the community at large as a firefighter and fire police duties. Gerald's training and experience as a Fort Drum firefighter greatly enhanced his capabilities, which have benefited local residents. History serves as a reminder of our dependence upon the willful volunteer service of our firefighters, who stand ready as first responders in any and every sort of emergency situation, and who deserve our utmost respect and admiration for their personal sacrifices and dedication. Gerald Snyder has served honorably and selflessly over half a century for fire prevention and safety, and the citizens have all benefited from his knowledgeable guidance and assistance. Now therefore, I, Lawrence Dahlhoff, as chairman and on behalf of the Lewis County Board of Legislators, do hereby record our appreciation and enduring respect for the dedicated service of Gerald Snyder over the past 50 years as a volunteer firefighter and for his continuing leadership roles. Now we have a proclamation for Fair Housing Month, April. Whereas April 11, 2018 marks the 50th anniversary of the passage of the Fair Housing Act, Title 8 of the Civil Rights Act of 1968, as amended, which enunciates a national policy of fair housing without regard to race, color, religion, sex, familial status, handicap, and national origin, and encourages fair housing opportunities for all. Whereas the Lewis County Legislature and the Jefferson Lewis Board of Realtors are committed to highlight the Fair Housing Act by continuing to address discrimination in our community, to support programs that will educate the public about the right to equal housing opportunities, and to plan partnership efforts with other organizations to help assure everyone of their right to fair housing. The National Association of Realtors Code of Ethics commits all realtors to providing equal professional services without discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, handicap, familial status, national origin, sexual orientation, or gender identity. Now therefore, I, Lawrence Dahlhoff, Chairman of the Board of Legislators, do hereby resolve that April 2018, being Fair Housing Month, begins a year-long commemoration of the Fair Housing Act in Lewis County, and urge all citizens to wholeheartedly recognize this celebration throughout the year. You have Mr. Lance Evans from the Board of Realtors.
Stand here.
That's good.
All right. Thank you very much for the proclamation tonight. As it states, April 11th marks the 50th anniversary of the Fair Housing Act. The Kerr Commission, studying civil disorders and causes of riots in the U.S. cities in 1967, wrote that our nation is moving toward two societies, one black, one white, separate and unequal. On April 4th, 1968, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. President Lyndon Johnson signed the Fair Housing Act into law on April 11th, 1968. The Act states it's the policy of the United States to provide within constitutional limitations for fair housing throughout the United States. The 1968 Fair Housing Act prohibited discrimination based on race, color, religion, and national origin. For decades, realtors like those in the Jefferson Lewis Board of Realtors have supported a free, open market that embraces fairness and equal opportunity for all buyers and sellers. Our members strongly support the Fair Housing Act and equal opportunity in housing. No one should have their right to rent or purchase their shelter of choice abridged because of race, color, religion, sex, handicap, familial status, national origin, sexual orientation, gender identity, creed, age, marital status, or military status. Furthermore, these rights should not be limited because of existing or desired ethnic, racial, or religious proportions in any defined area. Our members are proud to join with you in this proclamation and look forward to our continuing partnership for the good of the county's present and future residents. Thank you very much for doing this.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lance. The next proclamation is for Adam Madison and Keith Zaire. If you two would come up front, please.
Proclamation is to commend Adam Madison and Keith Zaire of Maple Ridge Center for sponsoring fun event for foster parents and children. Keith Zaire of Maple Ridge Center and Adam Madison organized and gifted a tubing party for all foster parents, foster children, and caseworkers within Lewis County. Whereas this is the second year these individuals have sponsored the party event and assisted with registering participants and providing pizzas to this group. On February 19, everyone who participated were all very appreciative for the gracious invitation and enjoyed a fun-filled day with their entire families at the Maple Ridge Snow Park. Now therefore, on behalf of the Lewis County Board of Legislators, I, Larry Dahlhoff, hereby record our recognition for the generosity of Keith Zaire of Maple Ridge Center and Adam Madison.
Thank you very much. Let's have a legislators day next year. We'd like that.
Next, we have with us the hospital CEO, Jerry Cater. He is here to introduce a new orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Stephen Kaplan.
Thank you. Over the last 6 months, you've given me the opportunity to keep you abreast of the activities of the hospital. And it's always exciting when you can share, really a profound new development and something that I think will help propel us into the future. It's my great pleasure to introduce to you Dr. Stephen Kaplan, orthopedic surgeon. And instead of just having Steve stand here before you, we thought it might be helpful where he could talk about one of the procedures that he will be doing in Lewis County General Hospital, and really is a new development for our institution. Dr. Kaplan.
Just as a word of introduction, I've spent the last 35 years of my career in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and my area of expertise is joint replacement surgery, more specifically anterior hip replacements. Just to clarify what an anterior hip replacement is a hip can be done through several different approaches. It can be done through the backside, through the side, as well as from the front. Traditionally, hips have been done through the backside because of ease of access, as well as the fact that you don't require any special equipment to do it. But more recently, over the last 15 years, Joe Nada out of California has developed or modified an existing table called the Hannah table that allows us to access the hip joint through the front side, which is a much easier operation for the patient because it doesn't require any muscle divisions. It doesn't require any hip precautions after the surgical procedure. And most patients who have anterior hip replacements have a much higher degree of patient satisfaction, as well as lower costs levied by the hospital due to the fact that they're in the hospital less, they require less physical therapy, they go home much sooner. So through the anterior approach, as you can see on your diagram, there's a table called the Hannah table, which is a funny contraption, which is also used for fixing femurs as well as fixing other fractures. That allows us to drop the leg so as to gain access to the femur. So the femoral access requires putting the leg in a severe extension and external rotation. And because of this approach, it can be done through a smaller incision, again, without dividing any muscles. It's an expensive contraption, but I think it'll pay for itself in the community fairly quickly due to the fact that the closest place that does anterior hips is one orthopedic surgeon in Utica, one orthopedic surgeon in Syracuse, and then within this area there's nobody else doing anterior hip replacements. So I've done well over 200 of these procedures. And Jerry's been gracious enough to actually authorize this table to be purchased, so we're hoping that within the next few weeks we'll be able to do it, start doing it in the community. It is the right procedure for a local community hospital that offers a full range of orthopedic services. However, we do have budget responsibilities, and I've done the math. After 5 cases, the table will be paid for. So it's a good business decision as well. Otherwise, I'll be making a large contribution to the hospital fund.
Do you have any questions for Dr. Kaplan? Great bedside manner, as you can see, and I think he's a welcome addition to our community, and we're really pleased to have him on our medical staff. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, love being here.
Dr. Kaplan said whoever of us would like to be first.
Let's go.
I'm getting close.
Maybe that's Jerry's department.
Happy to help, and we have coupons.
Presentations of communications and notices, Jerry?
Gary Church has submitted a letter of resignation from the Lewis County General Hospital Board of Managers effective June 30, 2018. Town of Diana Historical Museum President Dolores Young composed a letter of appreciation to the board with a county appropriation that will help extend programming to their community. The New York State Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation Office has informed that the Talcottville Cemetery has been listed on the National Register of Historic Places. New York State DEC Regional Director Robert Stegeman and New York State Adirondack Park Agency Executive Director Terry Martino each acknowledged receipt of the board's opposing resolution to the proposed legislation that would change taxation of state forest preserve lands from being locally assessed to a pilot system administered and controlled by the state of New York. The Shenango County Legislature had also forwarded an opposing resolution to the governor and state representatives. We acknowledge receipt of resolutions from the Cattaraugus and Shenango County legislatures opposing the governor's proposal to amend the forest exemption law by adding a new 480B section that would severely lower qualifications for an approved forest stand that could potentially dramatically reduce the taxable value of local taxing jurisdictions. Also received were resolutions from the Cattaraugus County Legislature supporting the Seneca Nation of Indians' efforts to stop dumping wastewater from fracking into the Allegheny River. From the Tioga County Legislature urging the governor to fully fund all expenses with state-imposed early voting dates of operation. From the Shenango County Legislature calling for the state to schedule any primary on the same date as a federal primary to reduce local associated expense. And for the state funding for alcoholism and substance abuse treatment for those incarcerated in county jails. And from the Seneca County Legislature opposing proposed construction of the state's largest garbage incinerator squarely between Seneca and Cayuga Lakes, submitting that the Seneca Meadows landfill already accepts a disproportionate share of garbage from around the state, and that this initiative would be contrary to the state's aggressive renewable energy goals. That concludes correspondence.
Thank you, Terry. Reports of county officers and departments.
The Lewis County Ethics Board reports they have reviewed and approved all disclosure statements, and they have chosen Thomas Beyer as their chairman for this year. Legislators have received copies of the Treasurer's March report and first quarterly bed tax report, the March 23rd Highway and Solid Waste Audit Reports, minutes of the February 13 Community Services Board, and March 21st Youth Bureau Advisory Board meetings. Sealer of Weights and Measures, Jim Richmeyer, has submitted the March monthly report to be placed on file. And that concludes the reports.
Thank you. So, Mike, how are we doing here? Do you miss it? Do you want to come back?
You're doing fine there.
There. Didn't know if any of you.
Privilege of the floor. Does anyone have anything they'd like to discuss, bring up? If not, we'll move on to reports of standing committees. John, would you like to start with social services?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I'll start with the Lewis County Youth Bureau. They awarded their Youth Family Service Development Funds. They had requests for $21,400, but they only had $14,000 to give out. So the kids sat back and they come up with a formula how to do it, and I'll kind of break it down here for you. The Village of Blauville Police Department Youth Aid Officer Program requested $6,000, and they awarded them $4,600. Lewis County Sheriff Office Juvenile Aid Officer Program requested $3,000, and they awarded them $3,000. Double Play Community Center requested $2,400, and they awarded them $1,400. Mountain View Prevention Services requested $10,000, and they awarded them $5,000. And a week ago, Thursday, I had an opportunity to go around the Harrisville area with a young driver named Jeff on the Meals on Wheels. And if anybody ever says that's a bad program, I'm telling you, it's amazing. It's amazing how that young gentleman treats his clients. they just look forward to seeing him. He asks him questions, he talks with them. And one of the ladies had fallen that morning. She had a pretty good black eye, and we spent probably 10 minutes there making sure that she was all right, and he just really impressed me. The whole program really impressed me. I have a couple motions to put forward for DDS, if I could.
Go ahead.
Motion to authorize Commissioner Jennifer Jones to refill a permanent full-time community service worker due to resignation.
Second, Dick. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Second one is a motion to authorize refilling a permanent full-time caseworker due to resignation effective April 6, 2018.
Second. Beard. Discussion. In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
That's my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, John. Randy, taxation, elections, information technology.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've got a couple of items here with regards to the broadband updates. Things are progressing fairly well considering the weather. With American Tower, they should have several of the sites fully functional by June, and they're working on pulling in power and dank fiber at a couple of the locales. Mohawk has hired a company to assist with the secret process for new towers. The current engineer is part-time, and they're concerned that this would be a lot of paperwork and processing for one person. The firm is Aerosmith, and I don't know when they found time to get away from their concert tour, but Aerosmith is the ones that they've permitted to do this. They're still planning to construct 60-plus towers to get the coverage they're looking for, and Adam told me a little while ago that Mohawk is a gold sponsor for the spring fling at Ridgeview with the Chamber of Commerce. And I have a motion for the taxation, real property tax department.
Go ahead.
Motion to authorize real property tax director Candy Aiken to refill a senior keyboard specialist position due to a resignation effective immediately.
Second. John. Discussion. In favor? Opposed? Carried.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, I forgot one thing. I had an opportunity to talk to some of the people at the Office of the Aging, and I don't know who was on the committee that recommended Kelly, but they did a great job. They love her down there, and she's just doing a fantastic job.
Great news. Thank you, Jeff. Brian, county officers, veterans, junkyards, HR.
Nothing to report this month, Mr. Chairman, except for, as you, I thought I was the only one that needed something for executive session, but it looks like we're gonna be here for a while.
Pizza and wings up south.
There we are. Thank you, Brian. Jerry, Ways and Means, Buildings and Grounds.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a motion to authorize County Clerk Linda Hodgkins to refill a senior keyboard specialist effective April 13th, 2018, due to current employee transfer. So I'd like to make that a motion.
Second by Mike Tabo.
Just trying to get me back in.
Discussion.
I'm sorry, who was the second?
Again, good enough?
Thank you.
Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
And for the radio system, for the overlay and the interop, we're in the critical design phase. Have a meeting coming up on the 12th. And we had the design kickoff meeting last month, and the completion date is August for everything. So that's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
This August? Any questions for Jerry? Thank you, Jerry. Tom, Public Health, Community Services?
Yes, these community services. Northern Regional Center for Independent Living is working on agency's next strategic plan. The agency has contracted Cortel Improvement to get input by having focus groups. They hope to have this accomplished in late spring. Community Services Department working with our board community members and subcommittees to review last year's local service plan and prepare the plan for 2019. This is due to the state by June 1st. Some of the achievements include assisting the planning department in upcoming county's transportation plan, working with priorities council agencies and Fort Drum Regional Health Planning Organization, recruitment, retention, and education committee on workforce issues, increasing the community's understanding and knowledge about opioid abuse, substance abuse, and local resources. Areas still needing some attention are qualified staff to evaluate, treat, and serve children with specialized developmental disability needs. Going to the public health committee part of it, Director Penny Ingram reported that there was 466 lab confirmed cases of influenza to date. That was as of March 21st. The numbers continue to decline, but it remains 42% above last year. She passed out a pamphlet about community health rankings. Lewis County ranked 17th in New York for current health outcomes. Some of the other statistics that were covered is, the alcohol, excuse me, alcohol suicide-related deaths. Because of our population, just one or two incidents could make a drastic change in our numbers overall on that. Mentioned, I think everybody's gotten pamphlets. The legislators are invited to an emergency preparedness drill on April 26th from 10:30 to 12:30 p.m. at Lowell Academy. This drill is to demonstrate the ability of public health staff and volunteers to vaccinate large numbers of people in a short time. Part of the reason behind this is there have been emergency events in other New York counties. A hepatitis A outbreak along the New York State Thruway demanded mass evacuations. Other examples of this type of thing could be a measles or a mumps outbreak. The New York State Department of Health recently notified receipt of federal monies of $5,213 as a retroactive reimbursement to offset Lewis County's early intervention program from 2012-2013. That pretty much covers the committee reports. I do have a motion for board action.
Okay.
Motion to authorize Anna Platts to travel to Santa Fe, New Mexico to attend the National Coalition Academy training from April 29th to May 5th, 2018. She's public health representative on the coalition and will assist the department with other coalitions and partnerships. All related travel expenses will be financed by Mountain View Prevention Services Drug-Free Communities Grant.
Do I have a second? Gary? Discussion? In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Covered it, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions for Tom? Thank you, Tom. Ron, Economic Development, Planning, Forestry, and Parks.
I have nothing to report this week, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Ron. And to Greg, Courts and Law Enforcement, Emergency Management.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senior Code Officer Ward Daly was at the meeting this month, and he was saying that international codes for better windows and insulation and various other parts of the building are going to have a little bit stricter codes. The last update was 2015, so they brought after 3 years of adopting some new codes. Let's see. We talked about with the A portion. We talked about the raise the age again. That continues to be a subject of discussion at each committee meeting. There definitely is going to be some cost involved in that if we end up with having to put somebody in in that detention center type of situation. That was that part. And then the sheriff's part, the sheriff, he's looking at, I've got, well, got 4, not all sheriffs, 3 for the sheriff and 1 for probation motions. I'll bring them up after. The sheriff's looking into a food company to provide a single tray meal for inmates that he's actually tried it out, checked it out, and Herkimer County and Clinton County are researching this Summit Food Company also for inmate meals. All they have to do is they basically purchase a specialized microwave from the company. You just slide the meals in, turn it on, microwave it, bring it back out, serve it. It's all in its own tray, everything's there, and it's, we're checking just to make sure everything meets nutritional, be a lot simpler to do for that. And then Under Sheriff McIntosh reported that he revamping of the Parks and Rec patrols. In 2016 and 17 snowmobile season, 2 deputies were assigned on Saturdays and Sundays, average 200 patrol miles. Compared to this year, where he had 3 deputies assigned Thursday through Sunday, around-the-clock patrols, and they averaged 1,200 miles per sled. He also had mentioned that the loaning program through Smith Marine of Old Forge coming to an end unless the county purchases the loaner at the end of the season, which we feel will probably be, we're discussing it, it's going to be discussed one more meeting, but we think it's probably the right thing to do. I mean, he's loaning it to us for a full season. We're doing us a discount to buy it at the end of the season. That way we keep friendly with them. So, and then there's going to be motion in here for about the UTVs. Sheriff would like to purchase the 2 side-by-sides for the ATV season, and there'll be lights and other accessories added, and a trailer to put it on. That's in the part. So now I'll bring the motions. So for probation first, motion to designate temporary senior probation officer Sarah Bush to a permanent effective, permanent senior probation officer position effective April 4th, 2018.
Move second. Jerry, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Carried. Okay, motion to authorize Sheriff Carpinelli to refill the full-time cook manager at the jail due to impending retirement.
On the motion, do I have a second? Brian, discussion? In favor? Opposed? Carried.
Motion to authorize Sheriff Carpinelli to refill a part-time deputy sheriff due to a promotion.
Second? Yeah? Discussion? In favor? Opposed? Carried.
There's a motion to authorize Sheriff Carpinelli to purchase 2 UTVs from Gamble Distributors, the amount of $14,932, right? Terry?
962.
$962, sorry. And a trailer from Northland LLC, amount of $7,900. It comes to a total of $37,762, which will cover him for the ATV season. And
So the UTVs were
Need a second to the motion?
second? Brian?
Will we have to amend that though, because the resolution's not right, instead of the motion? Or can we do it with a motion?
You have to have a
You can amend, when you get to that, you can amend that amount.
Yeah, we got to amend the resolution.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's 149.
yeah, resolution number 140. A motion to amend section 1 to transfer an additional
You
15.
can't do that now.
Oh, I can't do that.
Yeah, but wait, if you would, just please wait until the resolution is
Okay.
on the floor, and then you can amend it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Side by side, you bring it up.
Yeah.
Your committee approved that, and
Right.
recommended it to full board.
seconded that.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, are these gonna be under the weight so they can get registered?
They don't have to do
They don't have to do,
They'll have an official
it's law enforcement that they're
sure
okay.
signature on it.
That's
got a
not the
side-
question I'm asking.
You got a side by side?
Nope.
They're exempt as emergency vehicles, but no, they would not fit the New York State
That's what I wanted.
regulation.
Obviously 900. It's just like Krogan's. Fire department. Martinsburg Fire Department.
Okay, ready for discussion? In favor?
Yep.
Opposed? Carried.
That's the end of the report, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions for Greg? Thank you, Greg. Dick, hospital?
Okay, some of these have been short, so I probably can take a little more time. First up, the employee of the month for February is Ms. Yasmin Rice. She's a CNA at the hospital, and please congratulate her on the award. The auxiliary is going to have their annual geranium and herb sale on Monday, May 12th, from noon to 5:30, and on Tuesday, May 22nd, from 9 to 4. Okay, some finance stuff. We had a gain of $14,560 for February compared to a budgeted gain of $346. The year-to-date surplus is $15,351 versus $8,686 in the budget. Observations were 20 above budget. Results year-to-date are 41% or 48 above budget. That's the third highest all time. Our OR surgeries, we had 18, they're right on budget. Ambulatory surgeries were below budget by 10. Total ER visits were 53 above budget. Admissions from ER were 9 above budget. The ER treated and released visits were 44 above budget. They're 3% above budget for the year, which is 50 visits. You're going to see in your packet a little later on a motion to create one full-time senior custodial worker. Position card with a salary range of $15.39 to $28.82. And just a minute. Along with that, we abolished one full-time custodial worker and we abolished one full-time environmental services supervision. This is mainly due to our reorganization of a couple of other departments. We've got negotiations with our CSA union are ongoing. We've got a new health savings account for a high deductible plan that's going to be added this year to help the staff meet their deductibles for use of out-of-pocket healthcare expenses. These are normal in industry. There's a lot of places around with them, and we're just trying to give the employees another option on their health insurance that might help them control their costs. Orthopedic surgeon Dr. Kaplan, we met him tonight. He's joined our facility here. It says here he performed a hip replacement surgery at our facility recently, and it was the first performed here in quite a few times. And I might add, I believe the gentleman is from Michigan as well. All right.
We had a tough night.
Although we didn't go too far last night. On other news, President Young shared with the group that board member Gary Turk, as you heard earlier, will be resigning from the board effective June 30th. What you didn't hear is his reason for resignation is they are going through some major changes to Subway. He has, I think, 3 or 4 of those stores. There's going to be some either renovations or brand new building type of stuff. And he just felt he didn't have enough time to put his time and effort into this board, and he's looking for somebody, allow us to get somebody else that can spend more time with it. That being said, his term is set to expire on December 31st, 2020. So I would like us to put an ad in the paper for people who are interested in joining the board of managers of the hospital to send a short resume and reasons that they think they can help us and talents they can bring to the board. And National Doctors Day was March 30th. I didn't know that till a little later, but when you see your doctor next time, congratulate him for all or her for all the good things that they do and keeping you well. And we're doing a good job here in Lewis County, I think, because some of our visits at the hospital are down a little bit, which I hope means everybody's in good health. Barring any questions, that's my report.
Questions for Dick? Thank you, Dick. Andrea? Transportation, solid waste?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I will talk about solid waste. After a meeting with Dave on March 8th, it was decided that it's not a good time to begin charging for recyclables. The resolution brought to the board on March 6, 2018 meeting was pulled. Dink has offered an additional incentive of $5 a ton for recycling sent to Oneida Herkimer, bringing the total to $10 a ton. We'll have further discussion, and there's more news to come. Okay, for highway, pole barn work has been completed. There is a blinch with one of the new transfer radios for the fuel system, and a new one has been ordered, and Mike is working with Adam on this. We have started short hauling stone to some of the culvert pipe jobs we will be completing this summer. We will be able to utilize truck on other jobs. I also have 4 motions for the highway. Number 1 is a motion to authorize Highway Superintendent Dave Becker to fill 10 full-time temporary seasonal workers in either grade 4 or 15 pursuant to civil service rules and regulations effective immediately.
And second, Brian?
Is that the same amount as normal?
I believe so.
Okay. Normal amount, Dave?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other discussion? In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Motion number 2, a motion to award bids for sand, gravel, crushed stone, and concrete based on project location and for crushing stone to Linedecker excavation for the amount of $4.19 per cubic yard in accordance with the tabulation of all bids prepared by the highway superintendent and placed on file with the clerk of the board for a period of 4/1/2018 to 3/31/2019.
Second by Dick. Discussion?
So, does that mean that Linedecker gets all of it, or, because it says by location? In the past, didn't we get it, if there was a outlet closer, we got it from them?
This is just crushing. This would be crushing in our pet and garbage.
Oh, okay, so that's just the crushing piece of
It's
it.
just crushing.
Thank you.
Okay. Motion number 3.
Hold on.
Sorry.
In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Now
Are you ready? Motion number 3, motion to award the bid in the amount of $99,900 to Waldorf Equipment Incorporated to purchase a new tractor with mid-mount mower sweeper.
One second. Brian? Discussion?
Didn't you just get a new mower not too long ago, Dave?
No, we got a sweeper last year. This year, our other mowers, the main mower that we use is completely worn out. We're double duty on this one with a sweeper and a mower because we use 2 sweeping crews, so we should be all set with mowers for a while.
And this is in your equipment budget?
Yes.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay, motion number 4, a motion to award bids for hot asphalt to Barrett Paving, Hanson, and Pave Right based on project location, and to Gorman for paved surface placed surface treatment in accordance with the tabulation of all bids prepared by the highway superintendent and placed on file with the clerk of the board for the period of 4/1/2018 to 3/31/2019.
Second, John, discussion? In favor? Opposed? Carried.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions for Andrea? Thank you, Andrea. Moving on to county manager report, Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You will notice a few resolutions in the packet. That is the culmination of a lot of work that we've been doing with the hospital and the unions regarding health insurance changes. That's a large portion of our budget increase from 2017 to 18, and really since about 2014, it's been a big burden on the budget. So to get some of these changes agreed upon by the union and working with the hospital is really positive momentum for that. The solar project, I'm happy to report, is finally up and producing electricity. There's one final contract snag that we have to work out. You may recall that Green Skies, our contractor, was bought and sold by another company. So we have a slight contract issue that we're going to discuss in executive session, but we expect to have a ribbon cutting ceremony in the next couple weeks, hopefully, to settle that, and we'll be up and running and start saving some money. A few items to report on the state budget, which was passed last week. There were some items that NISAC was fighting for. One thing they were successful with was funding for CHIPS. There's additional money this year in the budget for highway and bridges, which are really important. We had put out our own resolution opposing some of the governor's state land proposals to put those into pilots, and that has been pulled from the budget. So there's no policy decisions regarding state lands and pilots on state forests in the budget. So we need to continue to watch that and make sure that we're keeping track of what happens, but it was not included in the budget as was originally proposed. And then the third important thing for us to take note of is that NISAC was fighting for an inclusion of an expansion of sales tax to include online sales, and that was not included in the budget. So something that we'll want to continue to keep our eye on after the session continues, but something that wasn't included in the budget. I've been attending the hospital board meetings, and I've been inspired by some of the things that Jerry and his team are doing there, and I'd like to, if you guys are interested, to have us do some more generative discussions based on mission and vision and bigger picture stuff in our board meetings. So we're putting together a survey that helps you guys identify some of your the key elements of your vision and mission for the community, and then hopefully we can spend 5 to 10 minutes in each board meeting talking about the bigger picture and your vision and the elements that you'd like to see included in that. So that'll start hopefully, if there's interest, in the next couple months. Just some dates to keep aware of. The spring fling for the Chamber of Commerce is April 19th. That will be at, where is that? That's what I thought. The Ridgeview Inn. As we had mentioned, Mohawk Networks, North Country Broadband is a large sponsor for that. The president of JCC, Ty Stone, will be at Jeb's on April 19th as well for an open house to talk with alumni and friends and other people that are interested in JCC's mission in Lewis County. So if you're interested in that, you can stop by Jeb's on April 19th. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Questions for Ryan?
Ryan, did you hear how, if that UTV bill, if that got killed, or if that was left in the budget?
It was not in the budget, but I haven't heard that it's necessarily killed. There's 3 UTV bills that we were tracking. All of them, will have to make it through. If it becomes law, it'll have to go through the Assembly, the Senate, and the governor has to sign it.
Because the one the APA was putting forward was the elimination of ATV use on all state forests tied in with the UTV. So.
Correct. So there's in your packet a resolution opposing that measure, but as far as I'm concerned, the big budget compromise that we're hearing was that all the policy proposals from the governor and some other folks were kind of pulled out and just made it a spending bill, and they'll fight some of the policy proposals on the side. So we have to keep our eyes out for sure.
Found it interesting that the budget gap was closed by the funding they're still getting from the financial institutes back when we had the market, when the housing market with the foreclosures of homes and stuff and the fines for that. So they have no long-term fix for their budget deficit. That was about $4.1 billion this year. So
The Assembly wanted to raise taxes, the Senate wanted to cut spending, and they end up doing neither. So go figure that one.
Thank you, Ryan. Patty, Treasurer's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have your balances. Special legislative contingency is $99,381.46. Contingency is $395,941.03. Capital data processing is $98,326.11. Capital equipment highway portion $207,379.85. County portion $527,083.61. Sales tax through February is $1,130,505, and we are ahead of schedule on that. Hospital repayment, they are on schedule, and the balance is $900,000. Internal service fund, we have through January, and we had a positive variance of $411,028, and our fund balance is at $2.3 million. And that's all I have, unless there's questions.
Questions for Patty? Thanks, Patty.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Report of the Ways and Means Committee for Rule 7.
The Ways and Means Committee reports they've examined the claims presented for payment in the total amount of $1,530,348.72. I recommend that they be audited and allow for the amounts claimed. It's signed by the entire committee. Need a motion.
Moved by Ryan, second by Dick. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Your first resolution is to audit and allow the claims in the total amount of $1,530,348.72.
Moved by Randy, second by Dick. Discussion? We need a roll call on this.
Roll call on it. Burns,
Yes.
Chartrand,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Causer,
Yes.
LaChause,
Yes.
Lehman,
Yes.
Mauerhand,
Yes.
Mosier,
yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Dahlhoff.
Yes.
We have an introductory law, restating local law 56, as subsequently amended, being a local law enumerating rules and regulations of the administration of the Lewis County Self-Insurance Plan. And the first resolution is to set the public hearing for comments on that proposed law for May 1st.
Moved by Jerry, second by Brian. Discussion? In favor? Opposed? Carried.
Appointing member to Community Mental Health, Developmental Disabilities, and Alcoholism Services Board.
Moved by Brian, second by Ron. Discussion?
What resolution number is this?
117.
18.
170.
117.
Okay. Thank you.
Discussion? In favor? Opposed? Carried.
Appointing member to the CSB Board.
Moved by Andrea, second by John. Discussion? In favor? Opposed? Carried.
Amending compensation plan with reference to county clerk.
Moved by Jerry, Second by Greg. Discussion? In favor? Opposed? Carried.
Increasing district attorney's salary pursuant to New York State budget mandate and judiciary law.
Moved by Gary, second by John. Discussion. We have a direction from Joan on this.
We voted down like we did the last day.
Unfortunately, we can't, but you certainly can voice on the record how you feel about it, but it
That
is
is how I
something that we
feel
have to do.
In favor? Opposed? Greg, Brian, Randy, Andrea.
How many opposed is that?
Four.
Okay, so it's 6-4.
Motion carried.
To appropriate funds, district attorney.
Moved by Brian, second by Gary. Discussion. In favor? Opposed? Carried.
Urging the governor and New York State Legislature to fully fund early voting operations.
Moved by Ron, second by Brian. Discussion? In favor? Opposed? Carried.
Approving additions to the 2 voluntary alternative health insurance plans.
Moved by,
I'd like to introduce a motion to amend this.
We have to get it on the floor
Oh,
first,
sorry.
but that's,
moved by Jerry, second by Randy. Okay.
Looking for a motion to amend this because of the clerical error.
Okay.
you need to
What is it?
just read it if you could.
Okay, motion to amend for the hybrid plan, family deductible for the domestic tier to $750 due to a clerical error. Previously listed at $1,500.
Okay, second by Jerry. Any further discussion on that? In favor? Opposed? Carried. So now we go back to.
Right, and adopt the
Any further
resolution.
discussion on this? In favor? Opposed? Carried.
To reduce July 1, 2018 scheduled additional increase to health insurance premiums to 2%.
Moved by Jerry, second by Dick. Discussion?
I still have an issue with even doing the 2%. You know, we had discussion previously on this. And, you know, we've actually had some advice brought to us by the actuary where 0 would not hurt us if we didn't raise it. And I brought it up at the committee that possibly we just bring it to 0 and for this July with the acknowledgement that if there wasn't, if the funding wasn't able to continue to keep up with it, we'd raise it in January and then do so every January thereafter. Because I think I think the employees have been hit pretty hard. It's just they're at 45% increase over the not quite 3 years, less than 3, 2.5. And I think they need a little bit of a break here. And 2% is 2%. And, you know, I still think we have enough money in our balance on our ISF fund to, and I did ask Patty that. She actually felt comfortable too with the balances there. Rather than hit them again with another 2% increase. That's just my feeling. I don't know whether anybody else looks at it that way or not. Might also be a reason why they didn't vote yes on their contract too. everybody sees 2% and he's visualized 2%. Well, that's all I'm getting for a pay raise, and it's all getting taken back away, even though it's not really that way, but that's 2% sticks in my mind. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. Greg opposed? Motion carried.
Authorizing a fuel storage rental agreement between the State Department of Transportation and Lewis County.
Moved by John, second by Ron. Discussion? In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing supplemental agreement number 1 to the engineering services agreement between the Highway Department and Barton owner Judas for Blue Street over Whetstone Creek Bridge Replacement Project.
Moved by Gary, second by Randy. Discussion? In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Rescinding Resolution 10 of 2018 and authorizing the agreement and funding in the first instance for the construction phase of bridge replacement project known as the Blue Street over Whetstone Creek Bridge.
Moved by Randy, second by Brian. Discussion? In favor? Opposed? Carried.
To appropriate funds, Transportation Department.
Moved by Randy, second by Jerry. Discussion? In favor? Opposed? Carried.
Amending compensation plan with reference to Lewis County General Hospital.
Moved by Andrea, second by Dick. Discussion? In favor? Opposed? Carried.
Support a proposed bill to support funding powers of industrial development agencies in New York State.
Moved by Jerry, second by Dick. Discussion? In favor? Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing an agreement between New York State Division of Criminal Justice and Probation Department for pre-trial release alternatives to incarceration.
Moved by Gary, second by John. Discussion? In favor? Opposed? Carried.
To appropriate funds, public health.
Moved by Andrea, second by Randy. Discussion? In favor? Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing an agreement between public health on behalf of the county and New York State Department of Health for early intervention program.
Moved by Ryan, second by Ron. Discussion? In favor? Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing an agreement between the county on behalf of the public health and Knowledge Capital Alliance.
Moved by Andrea, second by Brian. Discussion? In favor? Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing an agreement between the county and New York State Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services.
Moved by Gary, second by Randy. Discussion? In favor? Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing an agreement between the county and New York State Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services.
Moved by Gary, second by Greg. Discussion? In favor? Opposed? Carried.
With reference to adjustment on state land.
Moved by John, second by Ron. Discussion? I think this stuff ought to be waived when it's under $1, $5, $10.
You'd think they
Or
just
$1.
pay it, right?
Is this, like it says, 21 cents?
It is, they literally would not pay 21 cents.
21 cents. Yep.
Yeah.
In favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
In support of proposed bills to amend the Environmental Conservation Law to lower the age for universal hunting licenses.
Moved by Brian, second by Randy. Discussion? Dick?
Yeah, I've got to speak to this, I guess. As a 27-year instructor for the hunter safety courses here in Rose County, myself and others are opposed to this a little bit. What it's doing is, we all are encouraged with the 12, 13-year-olds being allowed to go afield. They can also go afield and hunt small game with a shotgun. The majority that I've talked to are leery of handing a high-powered rifle to a 12-year-old without having the prior 2 years' experience that they're not going to have at 9 and 10 or 10 and 11. So the state, I just say it like it is, folks. License sales are down, they're trying to increase revenue. So myself, I have to vote against this.
But now,
Yep.
I do have one question. I mean, I assume that at 12, it's just like 14, you gotta be with someone, parent or guardian for that time
But
frame.
not only with them, I mean, you can hunt with a group.
But you do have to go through the.
You have to be under their
They're supposed to be
supervision.
under their
Right.
supervision.
Yeah, so this year,
Okay.
we had a hunter safety course, or a hunter safety youth day. And a large number of them took game. But in there, it said you could not hunt from a tree stand. Better than half of them, I guarantee you, hunted from a tree stand.
Okay.
They make these things, but people don't follow them. That's the problem. Now, coupled with that, you've all seen legislation that you gotta be 21 to buy a weapon. So, you know, there's some disconnects in here.
I see that a little differently.
Okay,
I
go
see
for
it as one thing that, for whatever reason, and obviously it's probably for funds, but at least it looks like the state's trying to do something that might actually be promoting, hunting and stuff like that, and the kids using guns.
There's lots of different opinions. I gave you 27 years.
Any other comments? In favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Any
Dick opposed, John opposed. Motion carried.
In support of proposed bills amending the penal law to establish the minimum age and circumstances for juveniles to possess rifles, shotguns, and air guns.
Moved by Randy, second by Ron. Discussion?
Yeah, this one I will speak for as well. I don't have a problem with this one because the piece that was left out of this one is, it's for them to be at a shooting range where they will learn safe practices under a one-on-one guidance and what have you. And this is where they'll get some of their safe gun handling, I hope.
Yeah, it starts at 10,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so you're kind of.
This is to allow
You're
the,
kind of making two, you're going between two.
this is to allow the schools to have a rifle club and stuff again, and for the kids to participate in it. There's quite a few that can do that.
I mean, if
But they're not out hunting, they're not out in the woods where they can be lost by a tree or something, or get disassembled from the person they're with.
Now, see, they're getting their training at 10, though. So at 12, they'll be able to do the hunting.
Like I said, I don't have any problem with this one.
I want to just interject something real quick. With all the years of running the Northern Tier Trap League as their president, the biggest culprits were people our age.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't the kids were taught well. And the biggest thing is as well with this legislation is the advent of the high school trap league that has skyrocketed around the country. New York has really jumped on the bandwagon with it.
Barnesville, Beaver River.
Or Beaver River, yeah.
Yeah, there's quite a few of them in the state, but that's the biggest culprits to gun abuse and poor handling techniques are adults of age, 50, 60 years old, and they have attitudes when you try to correct them.
Any other discussion? In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Transfer funds, recreation, forestry, and trails.
Motion by Andrea, second by Randy. Discussion?
So we would do this
I thought we already paid for that truck before.
This is a different truck.
This is the one that was in and
It's
out
just
of the
putting the money
enterprise
in the
system,
account.
and finally we decided.
You already got this truck.
It's ordered,
Or did
but you have to put the money in the account, so I
So you can
can
pay for it.
did you put your other truck traded toward it, right? Or did you
It's
keep
being
it?
auctioned now.
You know,
So half the funding is coming from the capital equipment fund, which the auction vehicles revenue will go back into that. Then the other half of the cost of the truck is coming from the trails fund, which is, comes from revenue from permits.
Which is the next resolution.
Do you want to make Jackie pay for it?
Give me a raise.
In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To appropriate funds, trail maintenance fund.
Motion by Brian, second by Andrea. Discussion? In favor? Opposed? Carried.
Opening of certain portions of county roads for ATV special event and rescinding resolution number 31, 2018.
Moved by John, second by Jerry. Discussion?
Mr. Chairman, this was to correct one of the courses in the roads that as being opened from the original resolution we had. That's the only change. And I also wanted to report to the board that I have copies of the insurance policies and we have the agreement from Barnes, Snowplow, whatever their name is.
So do we need a motion to change the description, or?
No, it's in, this is to correct it.
Oh.
That's why we're rescinding the other one, the other resolution.
Okay. Brian?
Jackie, is our trail system opening up that day also, April
Our
21st?
trail system officially opens April 1st based on conditions.
It does, okay.
Conditions
Because I had a
like
question,
snow
someone
and
asked me
that.
today about that, so, okay, thank you.
Well,
Based on conditions, did they open?
What's that?
Based on conditions, did they open?
Right, so
So people are riding the seasonal roads, the off-road trails are not yet open.
Okay, okay.
any other discussion? In favor? Opposed? Carried.
In opposition to proposed bills to prohibit the operation of ATVs in the State Forest Preserve, Long Island Central Pine Barrens area, and Albany Pine Bush Preserve.
Moved by everybody. Randy. Second by Jerry. Discussion? In favor? Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing agreement and acceptance of DASNY grant award for Singing Waters Park Revitalization Project.
Moved by Ron, second by Brian. Discussion? In favor? Opposed? Carried.
To appropriate funds, recreation, forestry, and parks.
Moved by Randy, second by Andrea. Discussion? In favor? Opposed? Carried.
In support of proposed bills amending the vehicle and traffic law to raise the maximum weight for ATV vehicles to include side-by-side UTVs.
Moved by Randy, second by John. Discussion?
I sent an email out to our local government board, the APA. The local government board is in support of the raising of the weight limit on diesel. So we do have a voice on the APA, because the Adirondack Park Review Board that I was appointed to is part of the process for like all land uses and stuff with the APA. That's part of the whole process when they reclassify stuff. So the review board is fully in support of the raising of the UTV weight limit. So that came from the executive director. So
What I thought I read, though, was a bill to raise the ATV limit to 1,500 or 1,800 pounds, depending on what they are. And that would include side-by-sides because they changed the dimension. So this is the same thing, and they probably rewrote the bill?
Yeah, I can look, I got it on the phone here, see how Adam has my iPod over there.
No, that's fine, it's gotta be, that's what they said, which is good.
I think it includes the UTVs because it's the 70-inch width.
Yeah, that's what made it white.
So it's covered in all of these bills.
Yeah, okay, good.
One of them breaks it into two classes.
Right.
Yeah.
The Senate Bill 7361.
Yeah, one did, one,
Yeah.
that's what I was getting at, yeah.
There was 3 different bills that included the
Yeah.
ATVs and UTVs.
Okay.
Any further discussion? In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Appointing members to Labor Management Safety Committee.
Moved by John, second by Gary. Discussion? In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To appropriate funds, Sheriff's Department.
Moved by Ron, second by Brian. Discussion? In favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
To transfer funds, Sheriff's Department.
Moved by Dick, second by Jerry. Discuss?
This is the one that has to be
Yeah, this
amended.
one,
I make the motion
Okay.
to amend section 1, transfer an additional $15,031 from contingency to cover the cost of one additional UTV. This money will only cover one.
Second, Jerry.
Sorry.
Further discussion?
does that bring it to that 30,000 then?
That brings it to 37,000.
The two on the trail.
And the trail, yes.
Yep.
In favor?
Yep.
Opposed? Carried. Back to the original motion, any further discussion? In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing an intermunicipal agreement between the county and village of Loudoun to place village water and sewer lines facilities under the East State Street Bridge.
Moved by John, second by Brian. Discussion? In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
There are 2 late resolutions. Number 151, approving additions to the CSEA collectively bargained PPO health insurance plan for Lewis County employees.
Moved by Jerry, second by John. Discussion?
What's the short explanation of what this actually does?
This is, Dick, this is the same enhancements that we discussed during executive session last month that were on the table. The CSEA board didn't, or excuse me, the CSEA members didn't vote until Thursday, so we couldn't include it in the packet until we knew it was approved by their membership.
Okay, so this is the one that was approved?
This is changed to the PPO plan, which is the collectively bargained plan.
Okay.
Yes. So they approved the changes, so that clears the way for us to approve them as well. They're enhancements, the preferred mail and the telemedicine.
Thank you.
Further discussion? In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing renewal agreement between Microsoft Corporation and the county.
Moved by Jerry, second by John. Discussion? In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
That concludes resolutions.
Mr. Chairman, I have one question.
Go ahead, John.
It's something we talked about in our committee meetings about the minimum wage being raised and how we're gonna take the tips away from the servers and the bartenders. And it's gonna be a big impact on people. And I see in 2015, the same thing come up, and Mike Cable actually brought a resolution to the floor opposing that. I think we need to let the state officials know that we still oppose this. because it's gonna cost people a lot of money.
So do you want to do another resolution next month?
I'd just like to make, yeah, we can do another next month, or I just want to make it floor.
Well, we had printed off the one from 2015. It still stands in our opposition. If we want to send it out to our representatives again, we can do that. If you guys want to make a motion today, you know, of general opposition or your feelings, we can do that. You know, however you guys want to proceed. To do the resolution again, you know, would not really be necessary, so.
So the wording in that satisfactory to you, John?
I don't see anything here, I don't know how the original thing was written up, but I think it's the same thing, yes, it is, Brian. Because, I'll give you a good example, I talked to a couple restaurant owners in Harrisville and Krogan. The owners are very much against it, which I understand, a small business. But the people that work there are really gonna get hurt. I'll give you a good example at Josh's restaurant. 1 week ago on a Sunday, 2 girls made $100 a piece in tips. A $3 raise an hour and losing their tips ain't gonna nowhere near cover that. It's a big impact on these people. I mean, that's what they live on, is their tips.
That's what it's all about.
It's about what it goes. And I think, I'd like to put a motion on the floor that we still oppose this.
So you want to put a motion out to redistribute the 2015
Yep.
resolution in opposition?
Yes.
Do I have a second? Brian, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any other business? Proclamation?
We have 2 proclamations. We have a proclamation, Donate Life Month. Whereas through our membership with the New York State Association of Counties and New York State Association of County Clerks, we join together to collectively support April as Donate Life Month. This observance pays tribute to organ and tissue donors and their families whose meaningful decision enables others to receive life-saving organs or tissue, whereby a transplant not only improves the quality of life for the recipient, but in many cases can save a life. A single individual's donation of organs can save up to 8 lives, while a donation of tissue can save the lives of up to 75 others. There are nearly 9,500 men, women, and children waiting for an organ transplant in New York, representing the 3rd highest need in the nation, and there are approximately 400 New Yorkers who die every year while waiting for an organ transplant. Only 32% of New York residents are currently signed up to be organ, eye, and tissue donors, and there are also tens of thousands of persons nationwide in need of bone, corneal, or other tissue transplant, with names added to the waiting list every day. A new online New York State Donate Life Registry launched in October 2017, ensuring that New Yorkers can quickly and easily communicate their consent to give the gift of life and become organ tissue donors. Legislation, which took effect in February of 2017, has allowed more than 35,000 16 and 17-year-olds to enroll in the Donate Life Registry. New Yorkers can help save another's life by joining the Donate Life Registry and enrolling when they apply for or renew their state driver's license or non-driver's license identification card or on voter registration forms. New York State counties are joining organ and tissue donation advocacy organizations to raise awareness of the need for organ and tissue donation and to provide residents with opportunities to join the state Donate Life Registry. Now therefore, I, Chairman Lawrence Dahlhoff, on behalf of the Board of Legislators, do hereby proclaim April 2018 as Donate Life Month. We also have a proclamation for April 2018 as Child Abuse Prevention Month. Children are vital to our state's future success, prosperity, and quality of life, as well as being our most vulnerable assets. All children deserve to have the safe, stable, nurturing homes and communities they need to foster their healthy growth and development. Child abuse and neglect is a community responsibility affecting both the current and future quality of life of the community. communities that provide parents with the social support, knowledge of parenting, and child development and concrete resources they need to cope with stress and nurture their children and to ensure all children grow to their full potential. Effective child abuse prevention strategies succeed because of partnerships created among citizens, human service agencies, faith communities, healthcare providers, civic organizations, law enforcement agencies, and the business community. Now therefore, I, Lawrence Dahlhoff, Chairman of the Board, do hereby proclaim April 2018 as Child Abuse Prevention Month and call upon all citizens, community agencies, faith groups, medical facilities, elected leaders and businesses to increase their participation in our efforts to support families, thereby preventing child abuse and strengthening the communities in which we live.
Thank you, Terry. We need an executive session. You ready, Nick? To discuss the credibility of certain corporations leading to the retention of one, or union negotiations update, terms of a vendor contract, wind pilot negotiations, and potential land acquisition. Ryan, do you have a second? Greg? All in favor?
Aye.
We are in executive session, and we'll take a 5-minute break.